Welcome to the I Am Symposium and this wonderful winter solstice day and the celebration. And today I've invited a friend of mine who's also a shaman, who we planned a trip together several years ago to Peru, where we combined our groups and we had an amazing time. In fact, it's kind of where it was the first time when I was really exploring the wind work, that I, not even knowing what a wind bath was, I took everyone up to the top of this archaeological site, and I had everybody doing a wind bath. I learned a lot more about this winds of spirit work, but Kathleen was willing, and she's always been a friend. And we even met in the most serendipitous way one day at a healing arts at a bookstore in Palm Springs, where she used to come in, or she still comes, but she visited her family here. Let me tell you about who she is from her biography. Kathleen McGinley is a loving mother, wife, and grandmother who has spent her life helping people become better versions of themselves. She had a career as a health physical education high school teacher in Pennsylvania for 34 years, retiring in 2010. She was honored as one of America's most respected teachers by her selection of Who's Who among American teachers. After experiencing a relationship crisis in the early 90s, she used it as an opportunity to heal and become self-empowered. During the next several years, she discovered three essential components that led her to a remarkable transformation. She developed a passion for indigenous wisdom that led her to study with various native teachers, Andean, Toltec, and Hawaiian shamans. In 2005, she received certification as a wellness life strategies coach and started her own business, Phoenix Adventures and Wellness. And she works with women to help transform them. And that's where we'll start this journey today. And hi, and welcome, Kathleen. I'm so glad you're excited. And I'm so glad you're here. I'm excited you're here.
Thank you, Renee. It's great to see you. And boy, bringing back that wind bath experience was amazing in Peru. That was really cool.
I was going to plan a trip for 2018, and then I realized that it looks like I'm going to be writing the cards that go along with the Winds of Spirit book. So I moved it back to 2019, and I was thinking, well, let's do Lima, and we're going to do the Naztec lines, and then we'll do the go up to Lake Titicaca.
Lake Titicaca, yeah.
And Machu Picchu, but not until 2019. So maybe you'll get your group and come along again. So
sounds great.
All right, so today you're going to offer us a wisdom card reading. Is that what you call them?
Yeah, they're the Sacred Path cards. They're based on native teachings. Jamie Sam's. I've been using them for about 25 years. They were really instrumental in my own transformation. They really resonate with me, and I love them. They just allow for people to engage in self-discovery. It's just a guidance system, and they've just always been right on. So I would love to use these cards today and help people gain a better understanding of where we're at with the winter solstice, and what our challenges are before us and where we're headed into the new year, into 2018.
Oh, awesome. Today I'm also doing a soul card reading, or I might have already done it by now, we're not sure. And because I work with these soul cards, and what I love about them is they're also inspirational, and that's my intention when I do the wind cards, is to let people use them as a tool to infer more about themselves. And how have they helped you learn about who you are over the course of these last 25 years?
Well, what I love about them is they have teachings for every individual card, so they really get you to understand native spirituality, which I resonate with greatly, especially when I was going through that transformation and trying to connect with something greater than myself. The native teachings are all about, it's great mystery. You can call it whatever you want, but there's something greater. And that really resonated with me. So when I started working with these cards and saw the synchronicities happening and the miracles and the mysticism behind them, it just made me shift my whole consciousness and put great mystery, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, first in my life, and then finally putting myself second instead of putting everyone else's emotional needs before my own. I learned to love myself enough, and then of course everybody else falls after that. And these cards just have such a wisdom that I believe that if everybody followed these teachings and applied these lessons, the whole world would be a better place. It certainly made me a better person.
And that's so true. When I finally discovered the winds and how powerful they were, not as a metaphor, but as an energetic mystery that holds me every day in my life, the searching stopped. I knew that I was held by the wind, and this wind has always been synonymous with spirit, mm-hmm. and that I felt there was no more seeking that I needed, that I was held, and now life could become a journey of unfoldment. And it sounds like that you've had a similar experience with these cards. So let's get to that reading and see what's in store for this winter solstice and the period that's following.
Okay, so I always start out with just placing my intentions into the cards and calling in our ancestors and our guides and our protectors to give us the messages that we need to know for this winter solstice and proceeding into 2018. All right, so what I'm doing right now is fanning them out, and I'm going to pull the first card, which is the present. Where are we in the present moment? And this card is right on top. Okay, so here we go. The first card, we have Truth as Protection. It's the arrow card. Okay, so it's aiming high. And I always use the numbers as well. Like 1 and 2 is a 3, which is all about self-expression. So this arrow card is telling us that we can't be hurt by the lies of others. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world, and there's a lot of contrast right now. And what's most important is to be honest with ourselves and honest with others, to live our truth and not be concerned about what everybody else thinks. But as long as we are truthful, that things are going to proceed exactly as they need to. So it's just a reminder right now that know that we're protected, and that the universe has a plan for us. And even though there's a lot of stuff going on, we have to have the faith and know that as long as we're living our truth and we're being in integrity with who we are, all is well. So that's where we are right now. Okay.
How true is that? Yeah. The arrow and the lies card comes out. I love it.
Okay, so let's look at what our near future is. Okay, so as we move into this winter season. Okay, so here we go. So it's a very spiritual card. It's the powwow card. So this is all about sharing and quickening. And the powwow is telling us it's that time preceding birth. So like there's this quickening. It's like we know something's coming. The excitement is building. Obviously, there's change coming about. And we're in this mode of feeling excited, maybe a lot of nervous energy as well, because with change and transformation, there's always a little bit of anxiety, there's a little bit of nervousness, but it's assuring us that, yeah, there's going to be change happening, and it's going to benefit everybody in some manner for the whole, to be excited about it. But as we go through this transition, it's very important to share. It's a sharing card. You know, think of the powwow where people come together. So it's about getting together with people of like mind and sharing your ideas and exchanging ideas, and also refraining from the judgment, you know, and the criticism and the negativity out there, but bringing, you know, being those rainbow warriors of peace again, where we can all come together and collaborate and unite. So that's the near future card, which is really exciting.
Especially since we're just launching the 17 days of inspirational summit, and we're asking people at home to actually hold a fire, hold a candle, to be the fire tenders for this global gathering we're doing. So we're asking you to come to our powwow and be part of it. So
Yeah, is
this
that
is
perfect?
really like, so far we've got 2 perfect cards. It doesn't get much better than this.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what our challenges to this as we move into the winter season. Okay. Standing people. All right. This is the standing people, which is all about roots and giving, and it's a 5 card, which is change, transition. Well, of course, the challenge is that we are going to go through change, and for so many people, change is just, it's not easy for them. They, people like to be in their comfortable shoes, and this is saying that change is coming, and in order to go with it, we need to be still. Think of the tree. These are the standing people. So that we have trees that are still and go through changes naturally. Think of how they release the leaves, through the fall and the changing colors, and then they drop them, totally in the winter season, and they're barren and they're still, and then waiting for that rebirth in the spring. So here we are, being told that it's going to be a time of stillness. The winter season is the time to go within, to allow our roots to go deeper, asking those questions, having that introspection. Think of the trees. The deeper the roots, the stronger the tree, right? So it's about asking ourselves those questions and feeling. To feel is to heal. That's huge. So getting in touch with questions and the emotions, allowing those emotions to move through us, and then asking that question, why again? That allows us to go more, even deeper. When you ask the why question, well, why am I feeling this way? Why am I doing this? Why? But it's also about giving. It's a season of giving, and that's important. So look at what we are offering in terms of service, but make sure, because I know a lot of us are givers, that we balance it with receiving. So it's an important card to know that we need to do the balancing of the giving and the receiving. So, yeah, time to be still like a tree this winter. And it's a challenge for most of us. That's our challenge card.
Well, isn't that the hibernation of the solstice, of the midwinter anyway, is, like you said, seeds grow when timing is right. And so, they actually go into this near frost state. And so, we think, like I can be a slug, but a near frost state and being there is certainly not the same as doing nothing. We think, hibernating is doing nothing. Well, no, actually hibernating is a very important part of the cycle of experience, because it's in there that the community buys in or doesn't buy in. And especially at the end of this year, when there's so much up in the air, as a community, do we have to buy in? No, absolutely not. But how do we reflect this out in the way that the world is going to hear us? Because clearly banging each side and banging our frying pans as loud as we can bang with our, spoons is not getting us the response we want. So I think it's really an important time to go deep within ourselves, as hard as that might be, to find the way that you can be best of service in the coming days.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm butting in on these.
No, that's awesome. That's perfect.
I love these double perspectives.
Yes. And anybody who's watching us will also intuitively get their messages in terms of what it means for them, which is incredible. Really incredible. So, okay, how about the spiritual wisdom offered by our ancestors at this time? The storyteller card. Okay, so it's all about expansion, and it's a 2 and a 9, which is an 11 card, the highest vibration, which is awesome. So this is telling us that the wisdom being offered is that we are stepping into an expanded state of consciousness. People are starting to shift their consciousness, going more within and discovering who they are and why they're here, which is great. I think a lot of things are going to be happening in the near future with synchronicities. I mean, it's just going to be in everybody's face. The deja vu, the synchronicities, all of these magical occurrences that are going to just kind of have people really step back and look more at what's going on in their lives and with themselves. So we're going to reach that expanded state. Now the storyteller card is really having us reflect on what is our story and how can we share that story with others, whether it's through writing, as an example, to get our message out there. You know, what is our purpose and how can we use our message to be of service to others? So whether you're a writer, like Renee and myself with my book, it's about getting that message out there. For other people, their story might just simply be in oral form or through artistry. I mean, use that creative genius we all have at this point to get our messages out there. You know, what can we do and what can we share to help others step more into who they are and allow them to see why they're here, what their purpose is.
And tomorrow, Stephanie Gunning, who's an editor extraordinaire, is going to give us an exercise for how to take your writing a little bit deeper. So stay tuned. And for those who don't think they're writers, maybe if you listen to her talk, you'll get some ideas. What I want to say also about the storytelling is that these winds of spirit, I mean, I have to get that in. I dropped into 28 different cultures, and I gathered their story and how it connects with the wind. And the next year I'm going to do 32 more of these stories. And yesterday I was looking in Swahili, and it's so really exciting to see that our stories have always been carried upon the winds. And all you have to do is learn to listen. And over on the Wind Clan, I shared a great story yesterday about the hawk and the hawk are in the cold, and about, how to find out. They used to use the hawk and the cold to find out whether or not we needed blankets. Which wind required a blanket. I thought, well, this is a great story. And I'm not going to tell you which wind requires a blanket before you frost over. You'll have to go over to the Wind Clan to find that out.
All right. So, ready for another card?
I am.
Okay.
I'm loving these card pulls.
Okay. So, how about the lesson that we really need to learn at this time? Here we go. South Shield card. Okay. This is all about innocence and inner child. Love this card. And it's a reminder to connect with that little boy or girl within us, and stop taking life so seriously, number one, and play again and see through the eyes of a child that everything's a miracle, everything's magical. And, it's a time to return to innocence. So if it's the lesson we need to learn, because some of them, what's been going on in the world, a lot of people have kind of allowed the external events to really pull us down a bit and get negative and fearful. And this is a reminder that, we have to connect with that little person inside of us. And, it's almost like a little Santa Claus, I call it, with all those qualities of joy and laughter, because they're all within us. And so, when we go through that stillness, like it was telling us to become the tree, find those qualities and ask yourself, am I feeling joy and passion and the magic? Because that's up to us. We can't expect anybody else to do it. The happiness begins within. So connect with her, take care of her, for those who are female like myself and you, and return to that innocence and seeing the magic. So that's our card. It's time to play, Renee. It's time to play.
It is. I'm so excited. Also, there's a story about the south wind and the winter wind. Can I just quickly add it?
Absolutely.
So the south wind is that innocent wind that when the winter frosts over and it looks like that the spring is never going to return, it's the south wind in many of the native stories that goes to the north wind, beyond that mountain to soften the cold heart of the north wind, and to return the spring back to the people. So if you take that into your own life, that this innocence can actually restore some peace and harmony on the planet. And call upon that south wind right now in the coldest times of winter to warm your heart. And at times when people get depressed a little bit and it's dark, know that the south wind is with you to return you to joy and spring.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Let's do one more card where what's the medicine that the ancestors are offering us to promote our healing as we move forward into 2018? How's that sound? Medicine is anything to promote us. Could be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual, okay?
So far, you're doing great. I'm loving, they're just so in flow with everything. I love it.
Whew. All right, which one? Here we go. This one right here. Okay, so the medicine is Council Fire, all about decisions, and and it's a 6 card. It's a 24, so it's a 6, and it's cosmic love. All right, and it's once again, there's this coming together card, making decisions, knowing that it is a time where we are going within, but it's really essential to make decisions and not look back, that it's up to us to take action. A lot of times we make a decision, but then we kind of don't do anything about it. It is an action card, but it's really about knowing that the medicine being offered is that the universe is going to help us. Things are going to show up in our lives that are going to kind of give us that little push, because a lot of times we feel like we're stuck, but it's a decision-making card, and it's going to be a little bit easier, to do the releases that we need to do. As an example, people who have addictions, as an example, I feel that there's going to be just events and opportunities that are going to be taking place when we have these challenges, and the universe is there to support us. So that's what this card, for me, that's what that means.
And of course, because it's the fire card, and this is the first day of the 17 days of the symposium, and I've asked all over the world for people to be fire tenders and to hold space for this gathering. I'm going to invite you once again to get some candles. Go to Trader Joe's or get the little votive candles and light a candle and keep the fire burning with us for the next 17 days, because your light matters. And when we light up the world with candles, 100, 1,000, 2,000 all over the world, like you did with your bell ceremony, the darkness is infiltrated by your light. So I really encourage you to join the Wind Clan and light those candles and hold space with us. And I believe that the people who are holding space for this symposium are going to receive blessings tenfold, and will share a lot of wisdom. What a beautiful reading. It's so matched up with this first day of the symposium. And tell us, you're giving us a gift of one of the chapters of your book. Mm-hmm. And people can get that when they sign up for the I Am Symposium. So if you just got here through Facebook or another link, make sure you sign up for the I Am Symposium to get over to the gift page to receive a chapter on your book. And tell us about your book. What's the name of it? What's it about?
Okay, so basically it's called Soul Lost, Soul Restored, A Sacred Journey Back to Self. So it is my roadmap to recovery, and in it shows my transformation, where I've discovered 3 central components that led to my healing, and it pretty much maps it out with the various tools that I've used. So there is a little bit of a workbook in there as well, asking you questions, engaging you in introspection to help promote your own healing. But essentially, we're talking about really creating loving relationships with yourself, with others, and the universe. And that's the bottom line.
It sure is. And our friendship certainly has continued since the day we saw each other across the room at Crystal Fantasy.
Yeah.
Give Joy a shout out.
Mm-hmm.
What she's been in business over a quarter of a century. I mean, it's amazing. And what's your website for people?
Okay, it's www.kathleenmcginley.net.
Spell that, McGinley.
Okay, McGinley is McGinley.
And again, you can get to that by signing up for the I Am Symposium. this is day one. We have a lot of great wisdom to share with you and tips and tools for getting through the holiday season. Stay with us, and we are so thrilled you're here.
Well, thank you.